I love seeing the stuff that I imagine in my head appear. I'm an architect that's not about materials or texture. For me, architecture is always about space. I just love creating it. I really do. My name is Andrei Saltykov, and I'm an architect. We lived in an old house that I also designed for us, and both my daughters had different shaped bedrooms, which wasn't particularly equitable. I just found out that this garage site was for sale, thought it was worth it, and bought it. The site is very unusual. It's triangular shape. It has a railway on one side, it has a rights-of-way passage on the other, and then obviously it has existing terraces. But those are traditional houses that have the front face, the rear garden, and the garden at the back. Here the diagram is completely different. You're actually entering through the garden, and then the windows are onto the side where you don't want to have the windows. The way I structured the site is I put all the sort of simple rectangular bedrooms along the side that faces the railway, but in such a way that the noise from the railway is as minimized as possible, so no windows look directly onto it. And then the middle of the site was left for this space. The old house that we lived in had an elevated, amazing view over a green space. And it was, brilliant. And that's where we as a family spent the lockdown. There wasn't such a view here. The idea here was that to compensate for that absence of the view and to create that communal space for all of us to enjoy and to be in, I would use volume. If you want to see the main space in one go, I think this is probably the best place to do it. And I think from here, you basically see the geometry of the space, how it relates to the site, and also all of the structure. The white bits is the steel, which is the primary system. And then you have the secondary system of the timber. And you will see that the direction of all of these structural members goes up towards the daylight, which creates this dynamism in the space. And then on the outside, you will note that the roof is standing seam aluminium metal. So it has a very expressive joint. If you get that wrong, you will notice it. But then again, we need to keep the rain and water out. So that's why the roof is what it is. It is actually a reasonably conventional roof. The process of design is always a plan and a section. It's never an elevation. The elevation of a building, for me, always draws itself. The windows of the buildings around us look onto it. So that's why this space doesn't have, conventional windows. It has these two rows of glass blocks to give that daylight, to give the connection with the outside. So the privacy here, it's actually super private. But obviously I was very, very aware that it is a big volume. The sound does carry. And here is the famous symmetrical bedrooms of our daughters, one each side, completely identical, a little bit like in a hotel. They each have their own bathroom, and the sliding doors that separate them from the main living space are just hidden like this, so it closes off this way, which basically gives you both the privacy for acoustics and also just not to be seen in the morning when you're going to brush your teeth. Whatever the constraint or the decision is, there needs to be a very good reason to hide it, but also I like expressing things and celebrating things. I thought with the reference to the railway and the station, timber sleepers would have been a very good material to use for that. Also, there were 7 garages here on the site before, and rather than just completely demolishing them, We reused all the prefabricated concrete panels, and we actually built the wall to the railway out of it. And the animation that we get in the morning with the people on the station is also quite nice. It is one of the surprises. I did not expect it to be so entertaining. Sometimes when we hang out on the roof, we actually had conversations with the people on the platform. They sort of started asking us about, what is this house here? And quite often my wife and daughters shout at me from the platform when they see the door open and me working here, if they want to say something about, you know, doing some shopping or something. The client is my family. It didn't feel like it was anything particularly different. You start with analyzing what the site is, where the sun is coming from, where the noise is coming from, where the views are, and then you try to figure out how you fit in the space that you want to see within these constraints. My background is designing highly complex buildings, airports, skyscrapers, you name it. So I'm able to deal with complex systems that require really thorough, systematic approach. We did have this thought about, it's a reasonably big site. Is it possible to do something where it's eventually split into two? Where it's most apparent that it is designed to be split into two is actually when you're standing here. So you will see that the balustrades on this side of the house, they have these glass portions there. So the three of them, they're designed to be taken out quite easily. And then another staircase can come in the same place as the current one. And then apart from that, the central wall just comes straight in. And there's also the plumbing installed to have a laundry and a bathroom on this side as well. Not many more changes otherwise. Easy. For domestic architecture, it is a pretty large and overwhelming space, yet it doesn't feel at all overwhelming. The reason for it is this lower band on the ground level and from one side of the house to the other. It has that human scale, whereas the rest of the structure is above it. So it grounds it. And sitting here in the evening, it is quite impressive, but it's still a home. And that's what I think is really, really successful about it. Truly successful. I do hope that my best years are still ahead of me. I'm going to be cheeky. If I wanted a legacy, I would hope that it would be considered as a house that didn't comply with the convention, took it a bit further, and hopefully succeeded.